Hey, bird watchers, welcome to a mini-sode of the Shift Left podcast, where our focus today is on Blackbird itself. Now, usually a episode of Shift Left podcast is a part commercial for Blackbird. This is all commercial.
Is it all commercial?
It's all commercial. No, it's all good stuff. We're gonna look at the product and how it's kind of changed over the last few months and all the cool stuff that our awesome product and development team has been cooking up. And who better to talk about it than our VP of product, Mathijs Sonnemans. Thank you for joining
Hello?
us.
I've never heard you pronounce my last name. That's nice.
Did it go okay?
You did well.
Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Whew. Well, when we first met, like the Mathijs, like I picked up on that. I was like, okay, it's not Matisse. You're not a painter.
Even though in our living room we have a big poster of Mathijs, which is funny. It says Mathijs.
Oh, so anyway, yeah. I mean, thank you for taking some time to join the show. At some points I will have you and our CEO Bruno on for a full episode where we'll talk a little bit more than just Blackbird product. We'll talk, philosophy and strategy of things and all that. But now it's like so much has happened with Blackbird over the last few months, and for the users of it, it was probably like subtle, like because it was iterative,
Yeah.
But now if you look at what it was a couple months ago to what it is now, it's a vastly different and improved product. So I want you to kind of like walk through to people that even our current customers that maybe they don't even know all of the great features that have kind of come out. But then for people that might have seen Blackbird even earlier this year, this is going to be a brand new kind of like interface for them, right?
Right. Yeah. If you're new and you come in and you'll be like, oh, this is, you hopefully think this is very nice, a nice experience, and then but people thought that already a year ago, and still we are never satisfied. We're always like, okay, we can make more and more improvements. I always think of the Greek myth of Icarus, like, what are we doing here? And like, are we flying too close to the sun? That is always a struggle. Like, not a struggle in like this is difficult, but more like, okay, where do we actually draw a line and how far do we go this time? But it's definitely how we look at our product like all the time, because we have the ambition to be the best workflow orchestrator in the world, and that comes with the experience of having the best workflow orchestrator. It comes with the experience of the easiest way, the most clear and intuitive way to build, well, birds in our case. So it's always something we look at. And in the past couple of months, we've been working mainly focused on our bird editor. And really looking at the front end of things. Of course, there are some backend related tasks, but the front end team has done an amazing job into working these new features that we have designed. It's not even done yet, so that's the beauty of this. Like, it will be a continuous process, and we're probably going to have a mini episode in a couple of weeks again for the new features that have come out then. But we can already talk about the things that have changed drastically, I would say, since I think July. July. It's when we started this, because that's when we maybe for existing customers, new customers, non-customers, release we did then was with blueprints, a big one for us, and that's when we started then after to look at the bird editor mainly.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're on the YouTube channel right now watching this, you can look at some of the demos I did just a few months ago, and you can actually see it's like the evolution of the bird editor through the demos that I've done, where it's like, I remember like the first time it's like searching over here, and now it's no, I don't need to anymore. It's like right there for me. Everything is there, right there. I'm getting ahead of myself though. I don't want to steal your thunder here.
Should I share my screen?
I think that'd be great.
Is it already time for that?
It's already time for that.
I mean, of course, we're doing product. We gotta
That's
look
what people want to see. They don't want to see us.
Let's take a look here. So yeah, this is our bird editor for everyone who is new. Let's just go through. I mean, there's so many things I can point out that have changed already, but let's just go through the main things. So for people who haven't seen Blackbird in 3 months, the most interesting thing that you see right here is that we don't necessarily show like what we call the item model. That's how we call it internally. You'll get to see a little bit behind the scenes. That word is never expressed in any way, but it is what we call it. So we have, of course, items in a workflow, and when you click on any of them, it now pops up the details of those items, right? So I can see what the inputs of this item particularly is. And an item to us is our global word for action or checkpoint or event or operator, all the other things that you can put in this workflow. And in this these many updates that we've done, but also the couple of updates that are coming, we've definitely been led, of course, by feedback from our customers, feedback from ourselves, because we are ourselves our biggest customer, I would say, because we're in Blackbird every day. And I would say like just tiny things like this, like, oh, it does not need to be open, is so important, because what we're looking at now is an okay bird, but we have customers who build. We always had at some point the customer made the comparison between a sparrow and an eagle, and like, this is a sparrow. Maybe not what it does. It does very incredible things, but eagles are giant birds that just automate such big processes for a company. You want to have the ability to really take all that in, zoom out, and be able to click on these items individually. How have you? Besides, I know where you're going with what you really wanted to show, but I'll just get to the main course. The event trigger has also significantly changed, so the team did a really good job on that as well. Before, it just used to be an item just like the other ones, and it wasn't really distinct, even though its function in the workflow is very distinct, because it's the start of things, and there are many different ways that you can start a bird. So the way it starts now, in this case, in this particular bird, it's an event. We're waiting for something to happen in Contentful, and I can just click on it and change it. But I could also just change it to what we call a manual bird. Again, the word manual we're also trying to look to remove, because the word manual doesn't scream automation to
It's
you.
still, yeah, it doesn't. It's, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why you won't find the word in the UI anymore, and we still have to think about how to talk about it. But we just made it very obvious with this big fly button in the middle in the workflow, and not like it's also there off to the side, but that this is what it does. If you click this button, this all will happen. And the same for the scheduled one. You can just schedule your workflow for particular times in the week or month or day, and you can control all of that here. Oh, there was already a sign of what's to come. Besides that, like, the team has done incredible work on the decisions. So we'll talk about what we're seeing here in a bit. But decisions and loops, they now have very interesting, better flows. So in the beginning, these special flow elements, as we call them. So like a normal linear flow is just a straight line, but when you do decisions or when you do loops, like these lines, it grows particularly, right? And we've really focused on that because we had clients with very great but also significantly big and complex birds that we want to see how can we condense that properly, and how can we still show relatively complex birds great on the screen. And we come up with these ways to do so, both with color, but also having these lines more appropriately formatted. So if you have like a particular part of your flow that's off to the side, it's off to the side, but your main focus is still on the middle. And the same goes with loops. Now, there's so many more things that the team has worked on, and it has done greatly, but we're going to show the main course for now. And then again, when I'll talk about a little bit about what we'll see in a couple of weeks. It is basically this main button over here when we want to add something to the workflow, to the bird. You would typically click on this button, and previously it would just open the model that we previously saw just on the right, and you would have to go in and select, just example like here, first the app that you wanted to choose, then from the app you would select the action, and from then you would select the connection. But we even I, after so many years working on Blackbird and demoing it, I would still often make the mistake of where I clicked on this button, And I thought to myself, yeah, I want to translate. So I would type translate here. Like, oh yeah, no, I have to first select the app and then translate. So even in our own experience, we saw, okay, this can be so much better. And that's ultimately what we then created into what we call the add item model. That's what we internally call it again. And basically, we make searchability such an important and big part of the experience. You should just have to think about vaguely what you want to do and type that in, and then it should just give you the suggestion of what it basically can provide it for you. So if, well, we're talking about content and localization, of course, if I search translate, I should be able to see all types of applications that can do something with translation for me. And of course, it shows to me first the apps that I've already been using in my Bird. I've been working with Contentful, I've been working with DeepL. But then it also will show you all the other actions in Blackbird that can do any sort of translation, right? It will show you um, the AI models, the NT, the TMSs. They all have things that they can translate, so you can really pick and choose from there. But not only that, I could go through this whole flow differently and be like, okay, no, actually, I very much know what I want to do. I want to do something, for example, in Contentful. I can just click on an action. I can click Contentful and I see exactly what's there and I have an overview of that. So we really tried to create an experience that was like approachable from different ways, whether you don't know exactly what you want and you're just typing and browsing and searching, or I know exactly what I want and then those things are just very little steps away rather than okay, I got to open all these drop downs in order to figure it out. That has really been the motivation here. And again, the teams have done great jobs because not only did the front end team make an incredibly versatile feature here. Also, as you know, the solution team has been hard at work to really categorize all these actions and give them proper naming. So that's just even better in how we view and browse through them. And of course, it's sorted by first what you have recently used, then your favorites, then your connected, and then your disconnected apps. So it always gives the most relevant information first. And same goes for checkpoints, etc. How has your experience been working with this, Dan?
Oh no, it's so much easier. Like I mean, I do these demos all the time, and we're constantly evolving and updating our apps. So like I try to stay on top of like all of the app updates that we have, but being able to search throughout all of the apps for something specific, all in one area like this, just makes it so much easier.
Right.
Um, so I love the search feature here. Yeah, the conditions and the loops so much easier to kind of handle, and from a visual standpoint, absolutely. I think one of my newest favorite features and one of our customers' favorite features that was just added though was updating all the app connections.
Right. Yeah. Good that you bring it up. That's actually, yeah, the release we had 2 days
Yeah,
ago.
like a day
Yeah, two
ago.
days
Yeah, I
ago.
think it was like
Yeah,
a day or two ago. Yeah,
day or two
yeah.
ago, we did that release. So within the grand scheme of things, let me just talk a little bit, give a little teaser of what's still coming. This particular panel is still going to get a major rework
Hmm.
where we really allow people to distinguish better between required and advanced inputs. So today we feel that you can do so much with Blackbird, but that's sometimes still a little bit hidden. So we did a lot of user research here and have come up with a credible design that's currently being implemented and we will see soon, but more on that
In
in a
the
couple of
future,
weeks.
but
Yeah.
I love the fact too, if you're not aware, like Mathijs spent a lot of time like meetings with customers, like going through like options and figuring out like, this is
We had
very
many
user
reworks,
driven.
like,
Yeah,
yeah,
this is
very,
very user
very.
driven. I love the user community amongst our customers, and I think that's, on my side, like doing a lot of customer interactions, that's one of the things that they appreciate is that they give feedback and it's like, oh, it's incorporated into the
It
product.
is.
It's and
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, of
yeah.
course. I mean, it's the only way we can realize our ambitions, I think. Let's take a look here. So, um, it's a very common thing that you, okay, like I said, this is a very powerful bird, but there are birds that are significantly bigger than this. And if you then need to update a connection, then that was always a little bit of a struggle. When do you need to update a connection? Well, when you have a different client and you copy the bird and you need to introduce it to them, or you have a new team, or your your particular instance changes, right? That would be reasons to change connections. And it used to be that you would have to go through every action and change it, right? Change it to this other one. Um, and it looks so mundane, but we basically created this change where if you change it now, we'll ask you, hey, do you want to change this for all these particular actions? And you just say yes, and it does so. And yeah, this has been like one of the top requested features, which is funny. But
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
usually these small things
Yeah.
that have such a big impact, and it's so relevant. And the same applies for if we want to create a blueprint, then just selecting these things will automatically set things up with the proper connections for me,
Hmm. Yeah.
which is already super powerful.
That's really great. And to the other one, you think about we're very use case driven at Blackbird, right? We're not
Yeah,
we're geeky about the technology. The technology is awesome,
yeah,
but also the applicability of how you're solving use cases. And think about that is I have built a bird using a staging environment, and now it needs to be cloned into a nest and upgraded with production connections. And now I can do that
yeah,
with one or two clicks, as
yep.
opposed to going through all the actions and updating all the connections for that that promotion, if you will. Yeah.
And we got really like internally the team is really awesome, and they even had some really good recommendation going forward and said like they suggested like, hey, if we add a new action here and it's for contentful, like shouldn't we make this connection already the same as that was previously used?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, let's do
Mm-hmm.
it. Let's
Mm-hmm.
let's think
Mm-hmm.
about every user interaction, and let's never limit the user. Again, let's not fly too close
Mm-hmm.
to the sun. That's so important. But still look at like what is the most common happy flow and try to really accommodate people for that. Like, okay, 99% of the times you just want to do this. Let us already be clever about that. And we call this declarative design. And we're even further, even in 2026 already, we're thinking in terms of, okay, what can we improve declaratively? And like, just heads up for like a very early stages, we're right now thinking about loops, like how can we make the
Mm-hmm.
whole loop experience so much better and intuitive for people? And that is part, again, for me, of trying to be the best workflow orchestrator possible.
Yeah, and it's funny too is one of the things that you and your team try to do is, pun intended, translate developer concepts to
Yeah,
someone who is not necessarily a developer.
yeah,
Our tool is meant for technically minded people. Absolutely, they're going to thrive using it, but you don't have to be a developer, right? You don't have to be their developer. So taking those concepts though that people might not be as familiar with and making it intuitive for a technical user, I
yeah,
think that's your challenge here too, is because all the things you're talking about, I mean, if you get a degree in computer sciences or take some courses in computer sciences, you're going to learn a lot of those similar concepts, and it'll probably like, oh yeah, I know loop, do this do this.
yeah.
But as a user, it's like, how do you make that tangible to them? Yeah.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. It's always a challenge, and in the both in UI copy and in the way people interact with it, we always have to think of like, okay, we got so much technical knowledge and constraints and also possibilities, and how do we translate that into features that are intuitive to people, and that is without just giving them like code, right?
Right.
It
Right.
sometimes has been requested, like, can't I just put in code? And it's like, sure, we could make that in theory, but we believe that that's not really the experience that we want to give, and that's not also not where we sit as a product, in our opinion. You want to see one more thing?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
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 So what we also released last again 2 days ago
Hmm. Hmm.
is a very important little button. Again, very user driven. We got a request for this, mainly from one of our customers, but through reading through the lines, you see that a lot of people actually want this. The scenario here is that you're connected to different systems, and you got things flying for your customers or for your other teams. Things are just doing great, but you want to make a change to one of your birds. You do so, you publish it, it's all fine. But then you see that for a particular configuration, it doesn't work. Right, there is an error, or like your perceived outcome didn't actualize. Um, if you would want to retry a particular flight that failed, actually, for example, I could go to this flight and see, okay, this one failed. I need to now I made a change and I need to try it again. You would always have to ask either your customer or the people you're working with, like, oh, can you publish that piece of
Hmm.
content again?
Hmm.
Can you do that again? And that is such a hassle and such a barrier because like someone needs to go into that system or you, and you need to push some buttons somewhere else. And context switching is really bad if it's not necessary. It really kills your flow. We just added a button here. It says fly again, and all it does is for this particular flight, it will fly again. It will do the current actions again. It will create a new flight with the current published bird definition, and do this whole process again. So I can just click on this, and it should basically create this new flight with the previously created inputs. So this will now fly again. And by the way, in preparation of this podcast, I just went through our changelog to see, okay, what features did we release when? And this active flying bird, it was only released earlier this year, and it seems so long ago now already. That's how great it is.
Oh,
There we
awesome.
go. Yeah.
Great. Well, um, an Easter egg, major Easter egg
Yeah, we've been looking at it the whole time,
on
haven't
the
we?
screen. Everyone's kind of
Yeah.
staring about it. And Bruno's been teasing about it on LinkedIn. If you're on our website, there's already information about it, and that's Black Lake. And Black Lake is something that you've been working on for a while now, and
Yeah.
we're going to Monterey for Lock World, and
And
then
we're
you'll be
gonna
going
we're
to
gonna see
Taos.
each other in real life
Yes,
again
yes, yes, again.
next week.
Yes, yes, yes. And so next week we'll be in Lock World, and you'll be demoing and showing and talking about Black Lake, and you've already been talking about it with some customers of ours already.
Mm-hmm.
And then Taos you'll be doing as well. So
Mm-hmm.
so over the next couple weeks there will be a lot more. If you're in person seeing Mathijs, uh you'll see Black Lake, in the flesh. Our goal is after that, we will have a full Black Lake demo on a podcast episode. The October 24th episode of Shift Left will have a Black Lake demo in it, so the public can kind of see it. But yeah, if you're in person in Monterey and in or Salt Lake City for Taos, you will get to see it. But again, you're teasing it here. Do you want to? I don't know. Do you want to maybe throw a little bit more out there so people have an idea of what to expect?
Um. Yeah, let's just if we can just look at what's on the screen here, not go too deep because yeah, Black Lake has many different facets to it, and it
Hmm.
has its own UI, and there's all types of things we could talk about. But let's just focus on it maybe in just in terms of a bird and in this particular flow and what it then does. Um, Basically, and you can see it on the screen here. What we allow you to do with Black Lake is basically store translations of particular content or modifications, transformations, because it's not necessarily translation
Hmm.
anymore. Huh?
Hmm.
Even
Hmm.
monolingually, it should work. That's just the future. Um, we allow you to store your content and be a representation of reality rather than we just store it, right? We keep it up to date with how it is in your system, and that allows us to do very interesting things. And one of those things is it allows you to do AI operations on it and not worry too much about build characters. You're not worried about um, excessive volume, things that you've already translated and being translated again. In this particular bird, that's what it does. It makes sure that only the real things that have changed are translated. There's way more to it, but we should
There's a
leave
lot
that.
more.
There's a
Yeah.
lot
No.
more to it,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and
Great
but that's just
tease. Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
particular bird the use case. We can talk more about that later.
Yeah, I mean the way that I look at Black Lake is it's a dynamic network of content and context. And I
Content and
think
context. Yeah,
yeah, content and context, and I think that
yeah,
that's enough for now. Yeah,
yeah.
so
That's
meet us in person, and you can see it. And until then, if you can't meet us in person, that's your loss, our loss as well. But then in a couple weeks, you'll be able to see it. It'll be in a awesome podcast episode that we have coming out as well. Yeah, a little shameless self promotion for the podcast episode. That episode called Beyond the TMS. So
hmm.
interesting. Interesting. And then that'll
Interesting.
be Ben Cornelius joining us in 2 weeks on that episode to talk about some interesting concepts about translation memory. And I think that, Black Lake will,
Come up.
they'll connect. It's like it's puzzle pieces. Anyway, Mathijs, thanks so much. Appreciate the
Then
time.
thank you.
And I will see you in person in a couple days. Yep.
I'll see you in a couple of days.
Later. Bye, bird watchers.